not just major black cities, but notice these cities with a high wave of immigration from so-called third world countries. That's where a lot of these numbers come from. And remember, DC has a lot of immigrants, a lot of black immigrants who come over. Atlanta, there's a lot of immigrants coming to Atlanta from African countries. There are people who have AIDS in other countries who come over here. And what happens, they don't count them as immigrants. When other people come to America from African countries, they just count them as black. They don't count them as something else, or they don't differentiate them. You understand? Yes, Ethiopia, all those Ethiopians who are in DC, heavy. In Houston, you got a lot of African immigrants down there in Houston. Atlanta, you look at Atlanta, you look at those housewives shows, everybody's dating some African dude. On all those shows down there, they dating some African. That's because there's a lot of African immigrants down there. I'm not saying all Africans had AIDS. I don't like to fall into that bullshit stereotype, but there are people who come over. Some of them come over from third world countries, and they count them all in with black Americans. They don't differentiate between nothing. So that has something to do with the high rate being counted. So you got to understand the trick bag. Think about that. See, they're not putting that together for you. Think about that. Man, Houston is full of African immigrants. Houston is full of African immigrants. You dig? Atlanta is too. Because they're letting people from third world African nations come in there.
This is what black Americans do as a black American. We know we running around here gay, sleeping with other men, going up in each other's butts.
I was going to get to that.
We know black FBA men are doing that. And we know that 1 in 4 gay males in Atlanta and in most of these major cities has HIV. And those men go sleep with men when they need some money, and they go sleep with women when they need some money and they want to get taken care of, right? So what we're doing is trying to take the attention off of us, the people who are really responsible for the spread of AIDS and HIV in the black community, and try to put it off on immigrants. And because you guys all want to do that, you guys try to slyly agree with Tariq because you feel like he's taking the responsibility off of the people where the responsibility and blame lies. That's not manly.
And then the other thing too, and I know you know this part, right? You know that it's black women that's actually, the highest rate of infection cases. You know that, right?
Yes, because we're giving it to them. Because we go and screw a man in a bathroom at a bar and then go home, and when we need some money from Keisha, we go hit her raw because she's our girlfriend. But then we got some dude running up in our butt, or we run up in his butt on the low. That's why we're giving it.
Look, I don't know how all of that stuff happens. I don't really get into all that.
It is easier for a man to give a woman HIV or AIDS than it is for a woman to give a man HIV or
absolutely,
AIDS.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's what's going on. I'm telling you, I live in Long Beach. This is a gay city. Downtown, all gays. Talk to a gay person. One thing I love about gay people, they are very honest about these numbers.
And I get a test, and then you can go
interact. These people know the science behind AIDS. They know you need a 3-month. Yes, you could catch AIDS today, and they will not detect antibodies in you for 3 months. Up to 3 months, it could be a year. They know that. The United States is not dumb. They check people thoroughly. And there's one where they could tell if you had contact if you've come in contact with someone with HIV, they could tell within 2 weeks.
Yeah, we back. Now, first things first, big up to Pan-Africanism Strikes Back for digging up that old content, that old video of Tariq. As I always mentioned before, Tariq Nasheed actually, yes, he got up on a live broadcast on the World Wide Web, and he actually said that the rise of disease, particularly diseases such as HIV, rising in the Black American community is due to the influx of Black immigrants coming in. He actually said that. He actually said that the United States government was importing AIDS patients on purpose into the black community. He actually said that, bro. So that's why whenever anyone comes into my comment section trying to defend him, trying to make a case for him, especially when he didn't pay you to be a lawyer on retainer, like, I just immediately block you and I give you no room to speak, and I give you zero acknowledgement. Because if you know a man got up on a live broadcast and was pushing such propaganda, and you still gonna look to him as a person of leadership, as a person of insight, well, that lets me know at what level your IQ is. That let me know what level you dropped out of school in. You know, that lets me know I'm not dealing with someone who's really intelligent on any level. And I know you guys are kind of ashamed because you guys always say, oh, Tariq is not my leader. You guys always try to distance yourself from his ideology because you know deep down it's an ideology of ignorance. There's a lot of things you can put on black countries. You could put a lot of things on black immigrants, but things such as LGBT activity, you can't really put that jacket on black immigrants, man. That's something that pretty much, as you can see, black countries don't really negotiate with or compromise on. When you go to a black country, the United States and the Western nations are constantly coming at them, constantly putting money on the table to get them to loosen up some of the laws they have on the books in regards to homosexuality. They're always trying to empower the homosexual communities within black nations. You know, the United States is famous for that. In fact, I believe there was a recent scandal where the U.S. Embassy actually launched the LGBT flag at their embassy in Jamaica, and it caused a huge uproar from the community, and I believe they had to take the flag down. You could say that black presidents, you know, leaders of black nations are sellouts in a lot of aspects, but in terms of their stance on homosexuality, you know, they don't really budge on that. They'll tell any Western politician, they'll tell any American president, any European head of state that, no, we're not going to, quote unquote, modernize our laws as it regards to homosexuality. We're not going to, you know, follow the blueprint set by the Western nations. If you notice that in the white nations, that is usually where the LGBT community flourishes. That is where they are the most, you know, how do I say it? The most flamboyant, right? You notice in the European nations, you notice in the United States, you know, that is where you are going to find the highest concentration of LGBT people who are outward and open with their lifestyle. You know, you're not really going to be, you know, walking down the street in Nigeria and you're going to see a black man, you know, wearing pantyhose and some high heel stilettos and a thong on. You're not really going to see a black man doing that, but you will see a black man doing that in the United States. You will see a black man doing that out in Europe. You will see a black man doing that even maybe out in South Africa, where there's a little concentration of white people in that nation right there, right? I noticed that when white people and black people get into, you know, start living amongst the same territory, that is when I noticed, like, you know, black men become more flamboyant. You know, black men, you know, they stop wearing sneakers, they start putting on heels. You know, black men stop wearing boxers, they start putting on panties. I don't know what it is. I don't know the correlation, but in white countries, in white Western countries, that is where you find the most flamboyant concentration of black men. I don't know what it is, bro. For some reason, you're not going to see the same thing out in Ghana and Nigeria as you will see out in, you know, Atlanta or, you know, Texas. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but it is what it is. You know, for some reason, I guess it's a cultural thing. You know, when you live under the culture of the Europeans, certain things become more acceptable. So I haven't done the scientific research, but I do find that there is a correlation when white people and black people get into the same, you know, mix. All of a sudden, you know, black men, you know, they just start getting flamboyant with it. I don't know what it is, but a part of that, as we know, the lifestyle that comes with that, we don't really got to go into the, you know, the details of that. We know what comes with that. And that is why that there is a, you know, correlation where the rate of certain diseases is higher in certain areas, right? And for Tariq Nasheed to imply that, you know, the United States Immigration Department is simply just, you know, slipping up and importing, you know, boatloads of AIDS patients into America, that doesn't even, come on, man. You can't even go to school in America if, you know, your medical records ain't on point, man. They don't play about that over here. Like, there's a lot of things you could say, you know, about white people, whatever, but white people are not going to slip up on their, you know, detection on who's coming into their country. You know, they already have a tight lid. They already have a lot of restrictions and a lot of prerequisites that you need to meet in order to be a black immigrant that is granted entry into the United States. Okay. They want black people that can contribute. They want the best and the brightest, you know, they want those that can contribute to the American economy. They're not about to import a bunch of, you know, impoverished, disease-ridden people that's going to be a burden on the American economy. And Tariq Nasheed knows that. But instead of just owning up to the fact that, listen, you know, we got a lot of our brothers, they live in alternative lifestyles, you know, they don't want to wear sneakers. They want to wear heels. They don't want to wear jeans. They want to wear, you know, lingerie, stockings. You know, they don't want to wear boxers. They want to wear panties. You know, they don't want to sleep with beautiful, you know, black women. They want to sleep with white men. You know, it's a lot of black men, you know, in the United States that's living a certain lifestyle that goes, outside the normal boundaries that we're, accustomed to. And with that comes certain things. Now, one thing that we have to acknowledge, the STD rate amongst Americans in general, regardless of lifestyle, background, race, religion, any walk of life, the STDs are on the rise because in America we have what is called a hookup culture, right? You meet somebody on a Tuesday, you meet them on a Friday, you smashing cheeks that night. That is the culture of America. That's what's been fostered in America. That's what's been taught to the youth as acceptable, to the young boys and girls, and the women have embraced it wholesale. A lot of them think that it's an empowering way to live. So with that comes diseases, apart from the typical HIV, which is the big boogeyman, but you got the chlamydia, the syphilis, the various infections, except the herpes. Oh man, so many people walking around with that. So that is just, that's just part of, American culture, American lifestyle, the hookup culture, the diseases. It's nothing, bro. It's nothing. People coming to the pharmacy from all walks of life, all ages and backgrounds coming in for their STD medication. People from all backgrounds got HIV. It's on the rise in the white community as well. But you don't see the white community. You don't see the personalities from the white community saying that the American government is importing AIDS patients from Slovakia, and that's why it's on the rise. No, the white community, the white men, they just acknowledge it. They acknowledge it and they say, yes, we out here, living a certain lifestyle, and with that lifestyle comes certain risks, and we got to accept that, and we got to do what we can to prevent that and control that. Same thing when the monkeypox came out. The white man came out and he was like, listen, we got a new disease on the streets. We got to be careful, get your vaccines, and take precaution, be on point. White man didn't come out and start blaming, people from, Slovenia or people from Albania or people from Armenia, talking about, the Eastern Europeans, the impoverished Eastern Europeans is coming over here and, bringing disease. Nah, man. No. Like Tariq Nasheed could never really be a leader of a nation or run a country because he can't really be honest. He gonna get up on the stand and start, declaring war on different nations, talking about you bringing diseases to my country. He's never gonna be honest. He's just gonna trigger his population to, follow whatever agenda that he has personally set to enrich his pockets, to maintain his power. So that's why this guy's an enemy to me. So I'm not gonna really be, arguing with nobody in the comment section asking me, oh, why you hating on Tariq? Why you hate? No, I'm always gonna keep my foot on Tariq's neck. I'm always gonna come out and debunk his propaganda because I have an obligation to do that. You know what I mean? He's an enemy to my people. And the fact that he actually tried to, blame the LGBT epidemic that's happening in Black America on Black immigrants. Come on, man. Black nations have a reputation given to them by the Western world as being, homophobic, archaic. That's what they call them. That's what they call them. The more liberal Black people that live in these countries, they're always running out trying to, emigrate to a white country so they can, embrace the culture of, modern Western civilization, because they see in America, you could be a Black man and you could wear thongs and heels and everybody will embrace you. Everybody will call you strong and brave and honorable. They can't do that back in their home countries. They can't do that in a Black nation. It's not, certain things are just not really culturally and socially acceptable, whether even if it's a law on the books or it's not. So it's certain things you cannot blame on Black immigrants. And to say that the U.S., the U.S. State Department or the U.S. Immigration Department is slipping up and bringing in AIDS patients, no, bro, no, they're not. They're bringing in people with a high amount of education, a high amount of resources, people who can contribute to the economy, the real brains that can be used back home to develop their country. They're taking that. They're taking the guy who can, come work for a big American company and provide that expertise into, providing some revolutionary technology. That is what they're interested in. They're not interested in some, impoverished AIDS patient living in the bush. They're not going to give him a visa. Are you out your mind, Tariq? Come on, man. Listen, but it is what it is, man. That's why I say anybody who follows Tariq Nasheed, we already know what level your IQ is at, man. And it's truly a shame. And I'm sure your mother and father are ashamed. So anyways, it's your boy Neferkari Desaline back in the building. Yes, indeed. And I'm gone. Peace. As you know, yesterday was my birthday. Get in the Cash App in the description. Show love to your boy, man. Support the platform. Love y'all. I'm gone. Peace.
Reincarnated, I'm back in original fashion. I left on a horse and came back in that ass, and I left with abundance and came back to famine. We used to be pyramids, now we be rapping. Look how the mighty have fallen. Used to be running, now we be walking. When you be cooning, that's when they applauded. Selling your soul, your sons and your daughter. Gotta come up in this shit, they stuck in the mix. Really, my heart it be breaking. That's why I'm stacking that paper and handle my business. Pass it down in generation. Talking about money and power and building a nation. That's a deadly combination. Never be watching the TV, they pushing agendas, falsifying information. Know they got malice intentions. Step in the room and I'm feeling the tension. Enemy watching, he blocking my vision. Get for the check 'cause cause I need my redemption. Building my kingdom, I need it protected. Ready for war like a young Money Congo. Never decided the team is the motto. Up in the crib and I'm whipping up waffles. Up in the crib and I'm smoking gelato. I'm chilling, I'm taking my pain and make it ambition. I'm blessed by the gods, but I ain't religious. I came for the power, they came for the bitch. They making no hourly wage, I got business. This shit is an art, and they could never be taught. Selling my soul, I can never be bought. Play with my money, I see you ain't caught. Run to the check and I do it for sport. Babylon falling, I go to the source. Packing my luggage and go overseas. Shorty be with me and she so elite. Shorty be chocolate, I'm calling her Hershey. Secret intelligence probably gon' murk me. Don't fuck with brands, cause nigga I'm Haitian. Say the wrong shit and you're smacking their faces.